Hello, my name is Linda McAnany, and welcome to my show. My guest today is Vicki Bullock. Vicki is the Executive Director of the Family Sufficiency Service Program. I'm going to call it the FSS program from now on, just because it's much simpler. But Vicki, it's so nice to have you. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Linda, for having me.
It's my pleasure. I don't know if too many of our audience know what the FSS program is, so let's start off by talking about it. Tell them what is it?
The Family Self-Sufficiency Program, easier said, FSS, is a program that helps people that are on Section 8 with the Housing Authority, helps them become independent of government assistance. In the long or the short of it, it really helps them to commit to becoming better citizens and to just get off the government assistance that they're currently on.
And you might explain Section 8 just briefly for our audience.
Well, people have a misconception that public housing and Section 8 are the same thing, and they aren't. Section 8 is where the client goes out, finds a landlord that will accept the Section 8 HUD voucher through the Housing Authority, and they rent just like you or I would go out and rent a house, but the Housing Authority pays a portion of that through the Section 8 with HUD.
Okay, very good. And I think the nice thing about this program is its purpose is to help them, as you say, get away from that help and become more self-sufficient.
Yes, it's a big commitment. If someone, it's voluntary, it's totally voluntary. That's the thing I like. So they don't have to get on this program just because they're Section 8 clients. But it's a 5-year commitment. And, you know, for someone to look and see tomorrow sometimes is a lot. But to look 5 years down the road, they have to make a big commitment to be able to stay with that.
And they have to do a lot of things during that 5-year period.
Yes, they do.
And they have to be accountable.
Yes.
And I'm aware of this because I'm fortunate enough to be on a small board that helps with this program, overlooks this program. But it provides, or you provide, the program provides a number of workshops. Let's talk about those workshops.
We just finished a workshop that started in October and just finished it the 1st of May that we worked with CMCA, Central Missouri Community Action, that started out with relationships, whether the person was a single parent or was in a committed relationship or married, and then relationships with their children. Then it went to being a better person, being a better you, taking care of yourself. It also centered around, part of it centered around parenting, and really went the whole gamut of things that they needed, including budgeting and things like that. We work with a lot of organizations in the community, Working Wheels for Working Families. We work with them to help some of our families obtain good vehicles to get back and forth to work. We do workshops with them that help them go from the steps that they're in, because everyone's in a different level. And budgeting is a required workshop, of course. Anyone can take budgeting and learn something. But they have to take all this. Yeah, we all can. But it takes a lot of commitment for them to do these workshops because they do involve a lot of their personal habits and things.
And you have, as an example with CMCA, you had some folks from CMCA come over and talk and lead them through this workshop, did you not?
Yes. Fortunately, I don't have to teach every workshop we do.
There you go.
That's wonderful. But we do. We have just about every week or every other week or so, we have different people come in and lead those workshops. So number one, they're not coming into me for the counseling and the goals assessment. And then seeing me at the workshops as well, they're seeing other people in the community that they can go to for other resources.
Sure. Now, let's talk a little bit about your clients. They have to make a commitment.
Yes.
Obviously, it's a 5-year program. That's a pretty good sized commitment right there. But tell us about a little bit about their background or what they have in common, etc.
Many of them, the big thing that they have in common is they have grown up in the housing environment. They've grown up through public housing themselves. Their parents were in public housing. They grew up in many of those neighborhoods, and so they've continued through that cycle, and they've decided that they want something more for their children and their family and themselves, and so they jump out of that cycle.
And many of them do have families, and I'm
Yes.
talking about children
Yes.
as well. So they're not only going through this journey with you, but their families may be going through the journey as well.
Yes, it's not just that individual's commitment, it's a family commitment if they have a family. Everyone has to make that commitment to be a part of, they don't necessarily all have to come to the workshops, but they do have to make a commitment to take those steps that mom or dad or whomever has decided that that's what our family needs.
Mm-hmm. Now, you have a day-to-day involvement with these young people.
Yes.
Well, I'm calling them young people.
They're all younger than I am.
I was going to say, you know, we're talking from whence we cometh here. But tell us about that involvement every day.
Well, it's great because each one of them has a different schedule. Some are working, some are going to school, different things are going on. So I make myself available to them when whatever's convenient for them and their schedule. So I may meet with someone on a Monday morning or a Wednesday morning when we're normally in the office for classes, but it may also be a Tuesday evening because they work all day. We have several people that are now employed full-time, which is a great thing. Mm-hmm. They've moved up, and so their needs for meeting with me are totally different. We meet with each one of them once a month on a goals basis.
And in other words, you make an appointment?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's their responsibility. They have to call me and say, okay, I need to make my appointment because they know their schedule better than I do. So they have my cell phone number. They can call me anytime and we can go over their goals on the phone, but we meet face-to-face at least once a month. And we go over those goals and see where they are, and if that means we meet on a Saturday morning, sometimes that happens too, because if they're working Monday through Friday and you know school's about to get out, but it will be out, and so they have a lot of commitments with their children with all kinds of activities and things. So we want to take into consideration their time with their family too.
Now, how many clients do you have right now?
We have 36 families,
okay,
which all but 3 have children.
Mm-hmm. And these are females and males, or mostly females, or how does that work?
Actually, it's all females right now.
Is it? Okay.
We did have one family that we had a male, and that is our first and only male that we've had, but we now have all females. We'd love to have some males join us, but right now, just because of the nature of the beast, we have all females.
Well, and I think that's an important point to make. This program is an opportunity for people to better their life, to take some steps, important steps for them, and make a time commitment. We've said that now a couple of times, but to step away from or towards something. And I admire that commitment that they all have to make.
Yes, I have so much respect for them being able to get their children up, get them off to school or to daycare or wherever they're going, go to their jobs, come in for classes, come in for assessments, and do everything they're supposed to be doing to get through this commitment. And it is a lot of work, but it's certainly worth it in the end.
Absolutely. You know, you mentioned Working Wheels for working
families.
I was fortunate enough to be able to interview Julie some time ago,
yes.
And that's a wonderful program. What that program is all about is so many times people have a stumbling block, especially in our community, of not having transportation. And I think it wasn't too long ago that you awarded, or through their help, you awarded one of your clients an automobile, did you not?
Yes, we've had 4 families actually
4,
receive.
all right.
Yes, in the last year and a half, we've had 4 of our families receive vehicles from Working Wheels, and I was fortunate to be on the founding board for Working Wheels. and have a good relationship with Paul and Julie Beck, and love the organization, love what it does, and it has certainly helped the 4 families that we have that received vehicles. That was the step they needed. You can see a different sparkle in the eyes. You can see the children are proud of that vehicle. The mothers are proud of those vehicles, and it helped them get back and forth to school and to employment and that kind of thing. It was what they needed.
Yeah, if you stop and think, transportation is so important in our life, even in a community our size. And the bus service runs Monday through Friday. Basically. And it's from, I don't know what time in the morning, but till 5:30. Just pretend, or just think what it would be like for you in your life to have to live within that time period and use public transportation, particularly with small children or school-age children or whatever. So it makes a tremendous difference.
Well, we take transportation for granted.
We do.
We really do. And, you know, we can go out the house, jump in the car, and go wherever we're going. You and I can. But for many of our clients, they can't do that. And many of them have a vehicle, but it's broken down, and they can't afford to have it fixed because it's something major. But to get a vehicle and be able to have those keys handed to them. We had one young lady that was walking 7 miles.
Oh, wow.
To work. Walking with 2 children, 3 and 5 years old, 7 miles to make sure that one child got to school and the other child went with her to work. And she drove a bus for school.
That's amazing. Is there a cost for this service?
No. Everything that we provide for our clients is free to them.
Okay.
It's just a time commitment.
Sure. Well, and that can be a pretty good commitment, too.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about your partners and how they are involved with the organization. And you've got a number of them, so we can talk about every one of them if you want.
We can talk about that for several days.
In fact, you know what? Because that is a pretty hefty subject, I think we're going to go ahead and take a break right now. When we come back, we'll hear about the partners, and we'll also hear about the funding sources. So stay with us. We're going to be right back.
Hi, I'm Donna Scheidt with the Jefferson City Daycare Center. The Jefferson City Daycare Center is a licensed daycare with an accredited early childhood education program. We care for up to 99 children ages birth to 8, primarily from low and middle income families. The Jefferson City Daycare Center, providing quality early childhood education services in a caring environment. We're proud to be a United Way partner agency. Find us online at www.jcdcc.org and like us on Facebook.
Lincoln University and JCTV are now on fiber optic cable courtesy of CenturyLink and Prism TV. Uninterrupted high-quality Prism TV delivers JCTV to Jefferson City and Columbia on Channel 99. Big thanks and much appreciation to CenturyLink, their staff, and Prism TV from your friends at Lincoln University and JCTV. Jefferson City Access Television for Jefferson City and Columbia. Now on Prism TV, Channel 99.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. As I mentioned, my guest today is Vicki Bullock. She is the Executive Director of the FSS program, the Family Self-Sufficiency Service Program. So, thanks again.
Thank you.
We were just talking about some of your partners, and as I mentioned before we went to break, you have a lot of partners, so let's talk about them.
We do. I can't even tell you how many partners we have at this point, but we work with the University Extension. They come in and do many of our classes, especially budgeting, which is a required class by HUD for obvious reasons. But we also work with the Extension to help us with nutritional planning and for budget shopping. It's difficult for some of our families to understand that they can go to the grocery store and purchase fruits and vegetables and still be on their budget. So with the University Extension, it's nice to be able to put the two together and put that for them. We also work with Central Missouri Community Action, CMCA. We work a lot with them. They do a lot for us. Working Wheels for Working Families, we've mentioned a couple of times. Hope Julie and Paul love the plug we're giving them. But we do work with them a lot. We also work with many of the other organizations in town. Many of our resources that we go to are, of course, the food pantries around town, which are numerous, thank goodness, because many of our families that are starting on the program are just that. They're just starting, so that they haven't learned the budgeting and they haven't learned how to plan their meals and that kind of thing. So they're still needing to utilize the food pantries in town, at the Samaritan Center and the Salvation Army and other places. We also work with both of those organizations with other things. We work with churches in town, which is great because we can offer something that the housing authority isn't able to provide with having this program, which is normally provided through the housing authority. We can provide that faith-based section that HUD has taken notice of, that they've realized that that's a good thing for us to be able to provide for them. One big collaboration that we have is with the housing authority. Without them, we wouldn't have this program. And that's something that we're very proud of. We've worked together since 2010 when you helped Michelle Wessler and I write the grant, the original grant, and put this together. And we started the program in 2011, then when we received our first grant. And that collaboration has been one that we've grown through this program together and being able to provide things. There are so many organizations in town, Dreams to Reality, the United Way, other organizations that we utilize that sometimes we don't think about as much because we don't see them as much. But we utilize every organization in town because they all have resources.
Right, and your clients, it may vary from client to client, and when I call them clients, I almost feel that's her committed folks. As you work with them,
exactly,
they have many different needs, do they not?
They do, and you know, where not just not-for-profit organizations come into play. We work with businesses.
Yes.
Because many of them need things that they need to learn about banking, not just budgeting, but banking.
Right.
So a lot of our partners are also businesses in the community.
That's great. Let's talk about funding. I know it's not easy, but talk about your funding sources.
The funding for the FSS program generally comes through HUD. Okay. It's an annual grant, so we have to write the grant every year. And of course with HUD there's annual reporting and that kind of thing. But with the help of the Housing Authority, we write the grant every year. And this year is a little different because we are out of funds as of yesterday for this year. And that's tough because we have so many people that are committed. We have, you know, the 36 families that are committed to this program. And my promise to them is just because we don't have the funding, we are not halting this from May 16th through December 31st of this year until the funds come available again in January. So that's where we need some help locally to be able to get involved in this monetarily. It takes about $5,000 to $5,700 a month to run the program because we help, especially in the beginning, when a family needs help with gas cards, bus passes, help with the GED, because that's one of our big things is helping them obtain their GED or high set now, which costs $94.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
It's $94 now rather than $20. So that's a lot of money. So it takes more money than you would think to run this program. And again, remember that we provide everything for free to the participants because they're making that time commitment.
Sure.
And that's important, and that's worth a lot right there.
And you've had some, speaking of clients, successful clients, you've had how many graduate?
6.
6 graduate who have made that 5-year commitment, who have gone every week, had one-on-one meeting with Vicki, and also have met the requirements that they committed to it from the front end. I'm just amazed at that. That's wonderful.
Well, and the exciting thing about the graduation, and you've been to a couple of graduations, the neat thing about the graduation is being able to hand them that escrow check.
Sure.
And seeing their eyes light up. They have an idea of the amount, but they don't know the exact amount that that escrow check is going to be. And when they see that check, that's what they have earned over this 5 years. And of course, that's something that's monetary, and it's something that's a little confusing to figure. But when they make that initial commitment, they sign a contract. This isn't just I'll be there, next week for an appointment and that's it. This is actually a contractual agreement that they make with us through HUD. And when they sign that, we also let them know that as their income increases, an escrow account is being put aside for them, money's being put aside for them in a special savings escrow. And the neat thing about that is when they see that check and they realize that they can now see those dreams go to the next level, and they can put that down on a home, or they can buy that vehicle that they need to get that better job. And it's just so neat to see their eyes. We have a young lady that'll be graduating this fall that is going to receive a check over $20,000.
Oh, wow, I had no idea. That's amazing.
It is, and she has earned every bit of that.
That's amazing. Well, and again, they've made the commitment up front. It's like an employment.
Exactly.
So this is kind of the natural effect of what could happen if they fulfill that employment.
Exactly.
What are some of the ways that you utilize volunteers?
Especially for the GED.
Okay.
We need volunteers because we do individual tutoring for that.
Okay.
We don't do a class. We've found that we are much more successful with individual tutors helping someone, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to help with that. Just have the willingness to help someone. Many times it's math or reading because they have reading comprehension problems sometimes. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that we have tutors that are patient and just people persons because they just need to be there and help someone through that. We also need volunteers to help with childcare when we have our classes. And we do those consistently every Wednesday. Usually they're at 10 o'clock and 1 o'clock. So we need childcare for some of those because especially we're getting into the summer now. So we'll have people that have children that are not in daycare or in school anymore. And so we'll need childcare volunteers.
Where are these activities, by the way?
We have them.
Or do they vary?
Well, we have them. Sometimes we share with CMCA and go to their office.
Okay.
But 90% of the time, 95% of the time, they're held at our location, which is on in Jefferson Plaza on Missouri Boulevard. It's
Okay.
at 1406 Missouri Boulevard. They're in the same plaza as Dollar General. Mm-hmm. And great location right across the street from a bus stop.
Well, I was going to say on the bus route.
And we're inside the plaza. We're in the back part of the plaza. But we have 3 large rooms that we can have 2 classes going at once.
That's great.
So it works out very well.
And by the way, if you have questions with regards to the FSS program, you can call 573-353-4720, or you can email fssjeffcity@yahoo.com. And I encourage you to do that, especially if you do have a volunteer skill that you would like to discuss and see if there's some way that you can help the organization. How can the community help? We just talked about, being instructors or whatever, but what other ways can the community help?
They can come in and be mentors. That's a big thing. We try to put every family with a mentor that can help them just through daily life, because many of them have never had this kind of structure before. So that's a change. And just to have someone come in and take the time, and maybe you just see them once a week or once every 2 weeks. It's just that little bit of structure that they need to help get them through the program.
And offer them an encouragement as well.
Exactly.
I think people in our community can be a mentor by just offering encouragement to these clients. You've been involved with the program since the beginning.
Yes.
What prompted you to become involved?
Well, we saw people falling through the cracks. And when the 3 of us, you and Michelle and I, got together, we all saw the same thing. we saw this as an opportunity to help people to better themselves and to take those steps that maybe they didn't see in front of them before, and to help people that were falling between the cracks. I wanted to be able to pick them up and help them to take those next steps.
And you've treated each one very uniquely, because you do look at each one differently, don't you, with their needs and their wants and whatever.
Definitely, and you know, I'm a mentor, I'm a case manager, I'm a counselor, whatever the day brings, but you know, most of all, we've become friends. And sometimes in this kind of business, you don't want to do that. You want to draw the line. But in the FSS program, that's where we have the unique ability to be able to be friends, because you spend so much time with them, and you share in their wonderful experiences, and you share in the sorrows as well. And you know, I'm blessed to be a part of that. And I can tell you from personal experience, in just losing my father a month ago, they were the first ones that were there. They were the first ones to call me. And so that's a good relationship, when you know that you've got their back, but they've got yours.
Yeah. Well, it's very obvious this lady is passionate about what she does. She's also a Christian lady who is very passionate about doing good things. So, Vicki, thank you so much for spending the time with me, and look forward to a time that we can chat again. And again, if you have questions with regard to the FSS program, just pick up the phone, call 573-353-4720, or you can email her at fssjeffcity@yahoo.com. We look forward to seeing you next time. Good night and God bless.